Namaste friends, I'm David Andrew Miliotis, owner of Ashtanga Yoga Orange County here in Irvine, California, and today we are going to work on some inversions. Inversions have many benefits: increase blood flow to the brain, which helps to nourish a lot of the important functions of regulating the body. How to begin learning headstand. So my teacher, Patabi Joyce, he always insisted that it shouldn't be called headstand, it should be called forearm stand. We don't want to press our weight on our head and compress the neck and upper back from the weight of the body down into the head. We want to carry the weight in the arms so that the space between the chest and the head is in traction. And if we do it this way, then we should be able to avoid the common concerns that the chiropractors often present to a lot of yoga people, that headstand is bad, and this is because of the compression when we carry the weight on the head. So what we're going to do, right, is we're going to come down on our elbows. We want the elbows close together. When we bring the elbows in close, we have a lot more capacity to press. We can get a lot more of our strength engaged, pushing down into the floor. When they're out this way, then when we push, the elbows don't reach as far down into the floor. Bring your elbows closer than you think they should be. Bring them closer together than you think they should be. They'll probably slide a little bit out, a little bit wider out after you go up. And we're not going to put the head down right away. So this is a key thing. We want to develop the habit of pressing in the arms, not standing on the head, but pressing the body weight into the arms. So what we're going to do is we're going to lift in what is commonly called dolphin, right, which is downward dog on our elbows, the hands clasped together. And we're going to practice some push-ups. Okay? We want to keep the chin tucked into the chest as we're doing these push-ups. We keep the chin into the chest, the head hanging down, pointing, the top of the head is pointing directly down towards the floor. And then we lower the head down and keep the chin tucked in as you push back all the way back up towards that downward dog-like position. And then slowly shift the weight forward again, back down onto your head. Be careful not to contract the back of the neck and lift the head up. Keep the chin into the chest. So we're down on the head, and then again you're going to keep the chin into the chest, push, and stretch all the way back down, head towards the belly. And you can do it a couple more times. Come down, keep the chin tucked in, press up. So this is training the arms to work, to hold the weight of the body. So what we want is that in order to get up into headstand, we need to bring the weight of the body, we need to bring the hips up over the head. As we get more comfortable, more competent at this first level, with the feet back in more like a downward dog position, then when we're ready to, we start doing it with the feet closer in, so that we're learning how to do it with the body weight more centered over the head instead of back so far. So as you walk in, it's going to get harder to push up. You're going to feel more constricted in the shoulders and the arms. Once you're feeling ready to work on getting up into headstand, you bring your hips over your head as much as you can, and you just take one foot, right, and try to pull your hips back so you don't have to jump as much. The more you get the weight over, the more you'll float up, the less you'll have to jump up. And don't try to get your legs all the way up at once too quickly.
What we want to do first, when we're first learning to balance, is just come up in a pod position, or like a cannonball position. The knees bent, the knees together, the feet towards the hips. If you can practice like this, after 1 or 2 weeks, your balance will be pretty steady. And then you can slowly start working on pushing the feet up towards the ceiling. You want to take the feet and reach up towards the sky. So that reaching straight up towards the sky will create tension or an extension through the body that will help you to straighten your waist out, to keep the low back from collapsing. When you're ready to come down, you can bend your knees. This is the easy way. Let your hips shift back to counterbalance. And then one or both legs together. Come down as gracefully as you can. And an important note with headstand, after you've been upside down, the pressure builds up in your head. So we want to keep the head down on the floor for several moments before we lift our head. So while the head is resting on the floor, we're breathing, and the blood pressure in the head is reducing. And you can do your step back or whatever you're used to doing after your headstand. So we always want to remember to be attentive to our breath while we're doing any type of yoga position. The breath is very important for the internal functions of the body. When the breath is smooth and even, the benefits of the yoga practice become much, much richer, much deeper, much more healing to the body. We're going to do a pose called Pinchamayurasana, which is also known as forearm stand or forearm balance. And this pose helps us to develop more sense of balance, more gracefulness, lightness in our body, and strength and stability, which can give us a lot more self-confidence. We can just start on our hands and our knees, and come down on our elbows. If the forearms don't have to be exactly parallel, but more or less parallel, but the hands often like to come in a little bit closer than the elbows, and we don't need to worry too much about that. What we want to focus on is being grounded through the forearms, and we need to think of the hands as part of the forearm. So if the arms are turning up, then they're not very grounded. Right? We need to be able to press down, bear down into the arms. Come up like a downward dog on our forearms, and we step one foot a little bit in. We take the other leg. So this leg that's going up, this is like the seeker, the scout. He's looking for where the balance is. He's trying to find the route up into the balance and pull the rest of the body up to meet it. If it's not that easy for us, we need to learn how to get up. Right? What we can do is we can work on just the very beginning step of how we approach this kind of a movement. So from this downward like dog position on our forearms, one foot comes forward a little bit, and the other leg that reaches up, right? It's really important you create a lot of energy reaching up through that lifted leg. And then as that leg is reaching up, you're going to find a sense of springiness in the foot that's on the floor, the leg that's on the floor. And what we want to do is be able to get a little bit of gracefulness in just hopping up.
So this initial move, we're not at all thinking about getting all the way up and catching our balance. We're only thinking about developing a gracefulness in making that little bit of a hop. So we're only coming a little bit off the floor, like 3 to 6 inches up off the floor, and landing lightly, gracefully back down on the floor. So this skill, this technique that we're going to practice will prepare us to eventually start increasing the power of our jump in a graceful and controlled way, so that we eventually feel more confident and have enough power to take ourselves all the way up into Pincha Mayurasana, forearm balance. So the more the upper leg can reach, the more you can bring your hips in over your shoulders, over your forearms, the less of a jump you're going to need to get up into the balance. If you're stiffer, you'll probably find that you're back further, and getting your weight up over your forearms is going to feel a lot further away from you. But still, it's worthwhile to practice developing this graceful hop. As with anything, the most important thing is repetition. If you practice it diligently over and over and over again, week after week after week after week, you will definitely make progress. You will see improvement, and you'll get better at it as it becomes more familiar in your body. So, namaste. I hope you have good success with not just the headstand, but also with deepening your understanding of the breathing. See you next time.